Hi, Jeff, Zach. Thanks for joining me.
Going on,
Hey,
Steve?
Steve.
Hey, we're talking Chicago, and for a change, it's the real wealthy that are having some issues. The luxury real estate market there has seen a real drop versus other sectors. In the third quarter, there were 28 Chicago home sales of 4 million or more, plummeting 28% from 39 in the same period. That's according to broker metrics. The median price of those sales was 4.6 million, down from 5 million in 2021. Luxury condos in Chicago's downtown and Gold Coast neighborhoods have been particularly hard hit. Your guys is some of the thought as we're seeing for a change, it's the real wealthy kind of taking it a little bit on the chin, at least when it comes to Chicago and what's maybe going on with that market.
Well, I mean, I think to some degree, there's a lot to be said. To me, Chicago has its history. It's famous. Or I should say, it's famed for all of its history and some of the other cultural aspects to it. But I think when a lot of people think of Chicago, some of the first things that come to mind are, problems, crime, etc. And when you're really, I mean, I think to some degree, when you're really talking about, Chicago Lux or Chicago luxury, residential properties, et cetera, you're really, I don't think anybody thinks Chicago, they think outside Chicago. So, if it's not really as much of a hub as what it used to be, and you're gonna see that you're gonna see a drop off because the people who typically are gonna buy there are going to be looking other places to live besides living in Chicago. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just my first thought.
I think you're kind of on the right track from where I'm sitting. Chicago doesn't strike me, and I don't, I guess, know Chicago as well as I could, but Manhattan has 9 million people living on an island, and there's a reason that they're constantly living in that area. There aren't really suburban areas that people can move to for the
So,
same kind of money, whereas in Chicago, there are very wealthy neighborhoods and suburban areas. So you might see a migratory pattern out of the city where I could buy an $18 million penthouse, or I could buy an $18 million, 25,000 square foot estate property. And the other side that I've been seeing in certain high-end areas is a lack of supply, for lack of a better term. It's not that there aren't houses, it's just that there aren't things that are quality. So everyone is waiting to find something that you don't have to go in and buy for a fortune and then spend a fortune to make it what you want. You're trying to find something where you don't have to spend that fortune to renovate something when you're already spending a fortune to buy it. And when those unique properties come up that have, I guess a better aesthetic or are more desirable, there's still a lot of competition at that level where you're seeing 5 or 10 or 15 offers because there are people there that are buying it. There's just nothing for them to buy. So I think it's some combination of both, but I'm not sure whether it's more migratory or lack of good inventory.
well, you might not want to add to it something you kind of touched on, which is kind of interesting. And I don't know if I necessarily fully considered it, but you start talking about buying a house that's in the $4 to $5 million range. You're getting drop offs. To some degree, I think some of those are probably homes that are maybe newer but aren't as technologically advanced, having some of the things that people can get and do now that are, Internet of Things or integrated in different ways. And so they're looking and going, well, I'm gonna have to spend a whole bunch of money to get exactly what I want out of this. And that's kind of to the point of what you mentioned with having to do renovations. A lot of people don't want to buy a $4 million property, then have to completely gut it to get what they want.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I can't help thinking about is billionaire Ken Griffin moving his business Citadel from Chicago to Miami and specifically pointing at quality of life and crime. And, he's not wrong. The overall crime rate in the city has climbed 36% year to date from the same period in 2020. And that's being driven by a lot of theft and a lot of carjackings. Uh, you know, I'd rather be in Miami and not get carjacked. And if you're the wealthy, you got that option to just buy your luxury penthouse somewhere else. And I think that's not a small part of what we're seeing going on here is that especially for the folks with money, they have options, and even if it's a little inconvenient, when it comes to stuff like their safety, I think, Griffin's not alone. Um, I think we're clearly seeing that in this market.
I mean, I look at you add to it quality of life, but I think the reality of that is maybe you have hurricanes, but you don't always have snow. You don't have always have ice. Yeah, but the hard part for me is to think that somebody moved just because of crime. I mean, I think wherever anybody goes, especially if there's wealthy people, you're going to find crime. Maybe it's just a different type of crime. I think maybe the context is violent crime instead of, I mean, is a different type of crime instead of the violent crime which somebody might be complaining about.
Yeah, and I know Griffin actually, specifically in his case, pointed out that he did have employees that were worried about their safety, and
Yeah,
if you've got money, that's a fixable problem. You move. And we've definitely seen even the New York market do better than Chicago. Definitely seen the Miami market do better. I do think a big piece of this is quality of life and security. And I think I don't think that's going to be an easy fix for Chicago.
yeah, great.
Okay, well, thanks for the views, guys. If you have a comment, let us know what we're getting wrong, right? Maybe we're not giving Chicago a fair shake. Let us know. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't, and visit our website, selectfincap.com, and get on our free newsletter to get weekly updates on real estate, as well as exclusive commercial real estate investment opportunities. If not in Chicago, maybe it'll be in Miami or someplace with lower crime rates. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.